small talk. It may sound unimportant, but it's actually one of the most powerful tools in English communication. Whether you're meeting someone for the first time, trying to make a good impression at work, or simply breaking the silence in a room, the ability to start and carry light conversation is a skill every confident English speaker needs. But here's the truth. Small talk isn't about saying random things. It's about using smart, natural phrases that sound fluent and make people feel comfortable. In this lesson, I'm going to share 10 smart phrases that will help you master small talk, the kind of expressions native speakers use every day without even thinking. And for each one, you'll get clear examples, the right way to use them, and how to avoid common mistakes. So, ready to sound more natural, more confident, and more fluent in everyday conversations? Let's dive in. 1. So, what do you do? This is one of the most natural ways to start a conversation in English, especially in professional or casual social settings. It's short, friendly, and opens the door for the other person to talk about their job, career, or role. For example, at a networking event, you might say, "So, what do you do?" to someone you just met. At a party, you could casually ask, "I don't think I caught what you do. What line of work are you in?" And even in a Zoom call, it sounds smooth to ask, "What kind of work do you do?" A common mistake learners make is asking, "What are you doing?" which refers to the current moment, not their profession. Practicing this phrase in different tones, friendly, curious, even professional, will make you sound more natural and confident in any setting. 2. That must keep you busy. This phrase is a great way to show empathy and continue the conversation after someone shares something about their job or lifestyle. It helps you react to their story in a warm and thoughtful way. For example, if someone says, "I work as a teacher and I tutor part-time," you can respond, "Wow, that must keep you busy." If someone says, "I just started a new job and I'm doing my master's degree," you could say, "That must keep you on your toes." Or if they mention parenting, like, "I've got 3 kids under 10, you can laugh and say, "I bet that keeps you busy all day." Learners often move on too quickly after someone shares without showing genuine interest. This phrase helps you sound kind and engaged, which always makes a great impression. 3. Have you been here before? This phrase is simple but powerful. It instantly creates connection when you and someone else are in the same place or attending the same event. If you're at a conference, you can ask, "Have you been to this event before?" At a restaurant, it's easy to say, "Have you been here before?" or "Is this your first time too?" Even at a class or workshop, you might say, "Have you taken this course before?" Many learners ask, "Is this your first time?" which is fine, but "Have you been here before?" sounds more flexible and natural. It's especially useful because it allows both yes and no answers to grow into new topics, such as experiences, opinions, or tips. 4. What brought you here? This is a smooth and respectful way to ask someone why they are attending an event, visiting a place, or joining a group without sounding too direct. It works in both formal and informal settings. For instance, if you meet someone at a seminar, you can say, "What brought you to this event?" Or if someone just moved to your city, you might ask, "What brought you to this part of the country?" Even online, when someone joins a new team or forum, you can say, "Just curious, what brought you to this group?" Many learners mistakenly say, "Why are you here?" which can sound rude or overly personal. This phrase is more polished, more curious, and invites people to share their story in a comfortable way. 5. That's interesting. Tell me more. This phrase helps keep the conversation flowing and makes you sound like an active, attentive listener. It encourages the speaker to go deeper into the topic without feeling pressured. For example, if someone says, "I've been experimenting with digital art," you could say, "That's interesting. Tell me more about what kind of art you create." If someone shares, "I recently started learning Japanese," respond with, "Wow, that's interesting. How's it going so far?" Or if a colleague says, "I used to live in Brazil," simply say, "That's interesting. What was that like?" Learners sometimes respond with "cool" or "nice," and then move on, but that doesn't invite further sharing. This phrase helps you dive deeper and makes your conversations more meaningful and memorable. 6. I'm not too familiar with that. What's it like? This phrase is a smart and polite way to admit you don't know something while still sounding curious and open. It helps you learn from others without sounding uninformed or awkward. For example, if someone says, "I love trail running," you can say, "I'm not too familiar with that. What's it like?" If someone mentions their job, "I work in logistics tech," you could reply, "Interesting. I'm not too familiar with that area. What do you usually handle?" Or if they mention a dish, like, "I made shakshuka last night," you might ask, "I've heard of that, but I'm not too familiar with it. What's it taste like?" Many learners try to guess or pretend they understand, but this phrase sounds more genuine and keeps the conversation going without embarrassment. 7. I've heard great things about that. This phrase allows you to respond positively to something you haven't experienced yourself, while still showing you're connected to the topic. It keeps the tone light, warm, and interested. If someone says, "I just got back from Thailand," you might say, "I've heard great things about that country, especially the food." If a coworker says, "I'm reading Atomic Habits," you can reply, "Oh yeah, I've heard great things about that book." Or if a new colleague mentions a restaurant or a movie, just say, "I've heard great things about that place," or "I've heard it's fantastic." Learners sometimes reply with, "I've never heard of that," which shuts down the conversation. This phrase keeps it open and welcoming, even if you're not familiar with the topic. 8. How do you usually spend your weekends? This question is an easy and smooth way to learn more about someone's lifestyle or hobbies. It gives the other person freedom to share, while also showing genuine interest. You could say, "So, how do you usually spend your weekends?" at the end of a work meeting, or in a casual setting. Do you usually stay in or go out on weekends? Or even in a text or online chat. What's a typical weekend look like for you? Many learners ask, "What are your hobbies?" which feels too formal or stiff. This question sounds more relaxed and lets the conversation move naturally into topics like sports, travel, family, or food, all of which are great for small talk. 9. That reminds me of. This phrase helps you relate to the other person by connecting what they said to your own experience, which keeps the energy flowing and the dialogue feeling two-sided. For example, if someone says, "I just adopted a dog," you can say, "That reminds me of when I adopted my cat. It was a wild first week." Or if they mention, "I'm trying to wake up earlier," you could reply, "That reminds me, I tried the 5 a.m. challenge last year." Or if someone says, "I'm learning French," you might say, "That reminds me of when I struggled with Spanish verbs." It's important not to hijack the conversation. Just share briefly, then return the focus to them. This creates a sense of connection and shared experience that makes the conversation feel real and engaging. 10. It was great chatting with you. This phrase is ideal for ending a conversation smoothly and professionally. It leaves the other person with a positive impression. For example, after a conference break, you can say, "I've got to catch the next session, but it was great chatting with you." Or after a casual lunch, say, "I've got to run, but I really enjoyed our conversation." Even online, after a message exchange, you can end with, "It's been great chatting. Hope we get to talk again soon." Many learners end conversations too quickly or just say, "Bye," which can feel abrupt. Ending with this phrase helps you leave on a friendly note and even opens the door for future contact. Finally, small talk isn't just small, it's powerful. These smart phrases make everyday conversations smoother, friendlier, and more fluent. Practice daily, and remember, every great connection starts with a simple, smart phrase. You've got this.